3, 4.
Yeah, when you're feeling down and motivated in the midweek, we got the guys here to make your life complete. Little John, Brandon, Cody, Carly, they're coming in to keep you motivated all week. New episode, same time every week. Don't gotta wait long for the next one to release. So don't go away, sit down, take a seat, enjoy Midweek Motivation with John and Carly. Hey.
Midweek Motivation.
Let's go.
All right, let's try this again.
Round two.
Take two. We already tried to go live with you guys. Yeah,
We talked for like 5 minutes before we realized we weren't live.
it was some okay stuff.
Oh, it was high quality.
Welcome to
Y'all will
Midweek.
never know.
Welcome to Midweek Motivation. Hopefully this is working this time. We'll find out in about a minute or 45 seconds if this is working or not.
If nothing else, it can become one of the lost midweek episodes.
Yeah. Now we lost some, like intentionally lost some of them. The quality, not of the speakers or the guests or anything, but just the quality just was not good. Early on, man, iPhone and no mics, and yeah,
We've come a long way.
we sure have, man, with $0 budget too. So,
Exactly.
Yep.
Straight from
Hey,
our pockets.
We got
there
some
we
action.
go.
Let's go. Let me turn that volume off before we start hearing ourselves again.
You know,
Hey,
I think about that sometimes, man. I mean, I was on like show like 5 or 6
Yeah.
early on, and we sat out there
yep.
and the camera was horrible.
Yeah.
Handheld mics.
Yeah.
I think
Like
it was, you could barely
sun,
hear us.
like piercing through behind us. We're looking like silhouettes.
It was a beautiful picture, but
Yeah.
you know, it was.
The backdrop
We've
was
come a long way,
beautiful, but that was all you could see was the backdrop.
and we do it all for you guys.
Yep, we do. Thank you guys. Hey, let us know in the chat that you are here. I got YouTube pulled up here. I think Brandon's got the app.
Yeah, we're up on Facebook.
I about said Cody. It just flows so natural. Darren is on Facebook, right?
We'll just call Darren New Cody.
New
I
Cody.
mean, new Cody. I'll take that. Not quite as good looking, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
It's the beard.
Depends on who you ask. Cody, we love you, man. We really do. We miss you. He's got a pretty big, possible big job happening today. So praying for you, man. I hope that all that goes well for you, and that you guys get the job.
Donate some of that big bonus money to Midweek Motivation.
Right. Maybe we can get some new equipment and finish this room. Who knows?
Yeah, John Brunk says, what's up?
What up, John?
We know John was waiting.
We
Oh,
got Benny
absolutely.
and
That's no
Michelle. I'm going to
surprise.
go ahead and assume it's both Benny
I
and
think the last
Michelle.
few times it's been both.
We're just going to assume it's them.
I think it has. Yeah, so let us know in the chat you're here. Welcome to Midweek. As always, text MOTIVATE to 540-900-3838. I always enjoy getting the text, and a lot of times I'll jump on there and get ready to respond, and one of you guys have already responded, and I absolutely love that. And listen, if you don't get a response from everybody, understand that we all see it, and we're all praying for you. We had a few come in last week. It's really cool, and sometimes we even get motivation. Like John sent a motivation, somebody else sent one, and I apologize if it was you and I forgot you. I apologize, but somebody else sent one with like a picture of what their life group was going through, and
Yep, I remember seeing that one, but I can't think of who it was.
I can't remember who it was. If it was you, put in the chat, that was me, and I'll apologize to you. I'm apologizing to you now that I got horrible memory. So
And Cody, don't put your hand up. We know it wasn't you.
do not take credit. So yeah, we're gonna continue on. Oh, sorry. Last week, man, the first stop of the Undivided tour. I thought it was awesome.
How was that? I was out of town. I didn't get to
It
see
was a
it,
good
and I
time.
forgot to go back and watch it.
I thought it was so good, and it's a possibility that we might be connecting with them to help them do something similar to what we're doing.
Very cool.
Which is, man, that's what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be the only Midweek Motivation podcast, whatever, in the Valley. Like, if we can help some other people, if we can help some other people do that kind of stuff, then let's
I think
do
I'm
it.
picking up what you're putting down.
Yep. So there
See,
may be some things
I was-
happening.
I texted last week and was like, hey, I'm going to be out of town. I'm not going to be able to make it. And you're like, hey, well, we're going on location. And I was so excited to do all this.
Yeah.
And to miss the first one, man, I
Yeah.
was so upset about it.
It
I
was-
think that's why I didn't go back and watch it. Just because I'd
You
be
didn't wanna
so
be
mad
depressed.
that I wasn't there.
I mean, well, then,
Maybe I could have just taken your face and cut out a little picture of me and taped it on my screen so it made it sound look like I was there.
oh man, I love it. I love it. Hey, do us a huge favor, especially because we started late. Go ahead and hit that share button. Share this on your page. And our notification system through our app is being weird right now, thanks to Apple. So yeah, notifications aren't really being sent out the way they're supposed to. So yeah, hit that share button, share it with your friends, your family, like, subscribe, follow, hit that bell if you're watching on, I think it's still a bell. Yeah, hit that bell to subscribe and turn on notifications if you're watching on YouTube. And yeah, so we've been going through Out of the Cave by Chris Hodges. Man, such a powerful book. We're going through it with our life group, The After Party,
And we're going through it with our online life group,
which is Midweek Motivation. We are going to look at putting together a group me. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's an app where you can do group chat, group studies, pray for each other. So we're going to put one of those together for Midweek Motivation so that beyond just Wednesday and beyond those of you who come on Sunday, we can still do life together in a virtual, a digital way. Because we want, you know, some of you guys, due to work schedule and whatnot, this is your life group, and so we want to give you more. We have the text number, and I do encourage you to still do that. But we're gonna create a group me as well to try to go a little bit deeper with this. So we've been
was that a pun on our last name?
No.
We want to do more.
Yes, it was. If I knew what the badunks button was, here it is. This is the one. That is not the one. I gotta label these buttons. That is embarrassing. Well, let's get into the show. You know, some people have said that they enjoy Midweek Motivation because it's a bright point in their day. Because you know, we are real. This is, I'd say, 90% unproduced. We have some lights and we have some notes and we have
95.
Yeah.
96,
but they like some of the people who watch and our family who watch, they like how real it is and how we cut up. And, you know, if you see us on a Sunday, this is us.
Yeah, this is what you
You see us during the week, this is us. And so that was kind of the thought process behind Midweek Motivation, real conversations with real people about a real God. And we want you to see who we really are. And we want to see who you really are. You know, Chris Hodges, one of the things he said, he just did a sermon. And honestly, I'm just going to be real with you. A lot of the stuff from today is from one of his recent sermons on anxiety. And one of the things he said is like, man, he just wants you to be able to take that mask off. And that's what we want through Midweek Motivation. We want you to have a moment where you can just take the mask off. Olivia, it was you. Yes. As soon as I saw the name, I was like, that's who it was. Yes, it was Olivia. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me. That was super cool that you guys are going through that in Ginger's life group. But, you know, it back to what I was saying. Sorry, I saw Olivia and I was like, yes, that's who it was. ADD. Sorry. Undiagnosed.
I don't think you need to go anywhere to get that diagnosed, buddy, but continue on.
Where was I? You know, but that's one of the things that Chris Hodges says. He said, we just need a place where we can take the mask off. And I hope that through going through Out of the Cave that you can take that mask off permanently. That you can reveal who you really are and be okay with it. Because you know who your creator is.
Right.
And he don't make mistakes. Mm-hmm. He don't mess up. And so that's why we've kind of been going through Out of the Cave, because a lot of times the stories, man, you said this earlier, the stories that we tell ourselves become our identity, and that is so far from true. And so, hey, Andy, man, we're praying for your brother, dude. Praying that everything goes well, Pastor Andy. Love you, miss you in the office. So that's why we've been kind of going through this deal. And I thought today we probably should focus on anxiety. I know a lot of people struggle with anxiety. And I saw somebody post on Facebook, I think it was Facebook or Instagram, like 2 days ago. And they were like, they put in there, I think it might have been Billy Cole. He put, anxiety is not a sin.
Mm-hmm.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Anxiety is not a sin. In fact, hey, look,
Amen.
I've said this on almost every episode of Out of the Cave. Anxiety and depression is not a malfunction of your mind. It's a signal. It's just like your check engine light, which mine went on or came on again like 2 days ago.
It's time for the new truck.
I wanted to just roll it off the back of the mountain and claim insurance. If you're an insurance adjuster, turn the show off right now. Jump back on in 15 minutes.
Hey, brakes fail all the time.
But thankfully,
Man.
the shop that I go to, I'm not going to say who it is, the shop that I go to, because it was just in the shop the other day, they repaired it free of charge. It was some sort of air conditioner sensor or something like that. Repaired it free of charge.
Well, that sounds like a shop name you need to say.
Well, I don't want other people to be like, well, that happened to me. Where's my free stuff? You know what I'm saying?
Good
So,
point.
You don't want to call them out like that.
I mean, I want to give them their props, but I also don't want other people to be like, where's my free stuff? So, yeah, I was a little bit, honestly, I was a little depressed when the check engine light came on again.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what anxiety is in our lives.
Well, and I can only imagine the mindset that you were in, because I know you very well, and you always have stuff going on. Always. And just, different stuff coming at you.
Yep.
And, you get into almost your truck like your place of comfort, kind of where you wind down on your way from church to home or
Yep.
whatever. And then you see that happen, and you're just like, man, something else.
Yep.
There is something else
Yep.
that I have to deal with.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. That's where my mind, honestly, that's where my mind went. Because like you said, you know me, my truck ride, either my truck ride to work or from work or church or anything, anytime I got about a 10-minute ride, there's a lot of times I don't even turn music on. I roll the window down, and that's my moment.
Yeah.
That's my decompression. And then when you got that glowing orange light and your truck's making funny noises, there's no decompression.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's just one more thing that I got to deal with.
But you got to deal with
But
it.
you got to deal with it.
And that's the same thing with anxiety
Yeah.
and depression. And you got to deal with it. And I've said it every time. Medication can help, but medication isn't all.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's the biological, is that biological side to it? Is that the right word?
Yeah, we'll go.
Sure.
with it.
Yeah. There's the biological side to it. If that's not the right word,
Somebody.
We never claimed to be the smartest people here.
right,
So,
right.
So,
So there's the biological, the physical, the mental, but then there is a spiritual side to it.
Mm-hmm.
oh, absolutely.
I think the first week that we did Out of the Cave, I read through all these people in the Bible who dealt with depression, and one of them is Elijah. We've been looking at Elijah, and I got it on the notes here, but I'm not going to read this whole section 1 through 4. But this is 1 Kings 19 verses 1 through 4. But he had just defeated this. What was 800?
It was a lot.
800.
It's at least triple digits.
It would, and he's on this high, and then he gets a text message, or he gets a Facebook post, or he gets a tweet where he's subtweeted or whatever it's called. He gets that comment, and he goes from this level of victory
Mm-hmm.
to the cave. How many times
to
does
the
that
pits
happen?
of defeat.
That's a check engine light.
At 100%, man.
That's it.
Just to
All the
clarify,
time.
if y'all were following along, it's 1 Kings 19, 5 through 8, not 1 through 4.
That's the next part. I'm getting there. 1 through 4 was the first part. I was summarizing.
I got you.
Yeah.
I thought
yeah.
you said you weren't going to read it.
I wasn't. I was summarizing.
Got you.
But
My
at the
fault.
end of that is where he says, "Take my life."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he tells God,
Goes 0 to 60.
yeah, he tells God, "Take my life." Like, woo, I won. Take my life because of a Facebook post. Some of y'all need to get off Facebook. Some of y'all need to get off Instagram. Some of us need to get out of the comparison trap.
Mm-hmm.
It took one message to kick his legs from underneath him.
Mm-hmm.
One message. And then verses 5-8 that Brandon jumped the gun on says he laid up underneath the bush and fell asleep. All at once, an angel touched him and said, "Get up and eat." He looked around, and there by his head was some bread baked over the hot coals and a jar of water. He ate and drank, and then he laid down again. Then the angel of the Lord came back a second time and touched him and said, "Get up and eat, for the journey is too much for you." So he got up, he ate, and he drank, and he was strengthened by that food. And he traveled 40 days and 40 nights until he reached Horeb, the mountain of God. I want to give you guys a few things. Yeah, one thing that I noticed, and we've talked about this in our life group, and I think we've even said it on the show. He ate, he drank, and he rested. Those are key to your mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Now, don't stress eat. Don't eat a whole bucket of ice cream because you had a bad day. But the right eating, the right drinking, and the right sleeping. The rest.
Are you sure about the bucket of ice cream?
Not 100% sure.
Maybe a small bucket.
I don't think I have any scriptural reference for that. So, might not be a good idea.
And we've touched it a lot too. The rest part is not just taking a day off work or
100%.
It's rest, just almost doing nothing.
Yep, and that's hard.
Get into the Word.
That's so hard in today's microwave society.
It is.
It is so hard. And that's actually the first thing that I wanted to kind of give you guys. And some of these things you'll be like, man, you guys have said that over and over again. And I just want to say, if it's worth doing, it's worth repeating.
Mm-hmm.
And so I need this just as much as the next person, because I have those days. I'm going to tell you, when that check engine light came on, I was getting ready to go to the backside of this mountain right here and jump out. Just whatever happens. So I need these just as much as the next person. But one of the first things is, you have to find the pace of grace. Don't outpace your life.
Mm-hmm.
If you outpace your life, then what do you have to show for it other than a state of depression or a state of anxiety? Because then you're not eating good, you're not drinking good, you're not sleeping well. Find the pace of grace. This is not what you are able to do. This is what you can do, and stay sound and keep a sound mind.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it can be done doesn't mean you should do it. I've been in that boat where I'm like, well, I can do it. And so then I do it. And then the mountain of items or things that I have to keep up with just keep piling up. I said one thing to Darren. I hope you're okay with me sharing this. I said one thing to Darren, like his first or second week of work here.
Was this when you yelled at me?
I did not yell. There was some inflection in my voice because I was passionate because,
Passionate inflection.
I have sadly been down the road where I gave the church everything and my family breadcrumbs.
Mm-hmm.
And I suffered because of that. There were thoughts of suicide during that season. There was thoughts of giving up on my faith altogether. And I'm not saying Darren was at that point, okay?
Not there.
Nowhere near that, okay? That is not what I'm saying.
I've only worked with Carter for like a month, so give it some time. We'll see how it goes.
But I just told him, I was like, listen, man, take your time off.
Mm-hmm.
Be with your family. And that's not, in the nature of where we're at in your position, like you essentially have two positions here.
Mm-hmm.
You work for the church, you work for KCA, kind of, and so I was like,
which also means I work for my wife.
Right. And so I just was like, man, just protect your home, protect your life, protect your rest. You can't outpace your life. I mean, you can try and it'll be miserable, but you got to find that pace of grace.
And you have to put some things in your way to stop
roadblocks, detours.
Especially in your marriage. Like, you and your spouse might have to have a conversation of, here's the things we're going to do. Like, it drives me nuts when you do this. And you need to be open to that. Like, Courtney and I had to stop, and we agreed. We work in the same place. We come to the same place 6 days a week. We agreed on some times where we're going to leave. There's 2 days a week where almost no matter what's going on, we're out the door at a specific time.
I think
that's awesome.
Last week we asked you guys, hey, do y'all want to go see John Christ? And you're like, nope.
I'm not doing anything.
Me and Courtney and the family, we're doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I was not upset one bit.
You know what we did that whole
But
day?
now, John Chris, not to rub it in, it was pretty hilarious.
I mean, it's pretty solid. It's been a couple years. So that whole day, rather than going to see John Chris and hang out with our friends, we let all the kids write down one thing that they wanted to do. And we let each of them pick a thing that they got to do that day.
I'm still
we did
in
that as a family.
Yep, I'm still in.
Absolutely. Little sticky notes. We let them pick 3 things.
That
and then
is
we
so
got to
awesome.
pick through what we needed to do. We got to go shopping. We took them to the dollar store. They got to
I didn't know this was a parenting podcast today.
That's all my wife. She's a genius.
I hope my wife's not watching because I'm going to suggest that.
It was a great day.
Get you an attaboy, yeah.
We won't trademark that quite yet.
Yeah, don't do that.
Let
please.
me know how it goes. And
Yeah.
then maybe I'll trademark.
We'll be your test smarties.
Yeah,
Well, see, that kind of brought me back to where I was at my previous job. Most of my money came from commission.
Yeah.
So I was up before, my wife and kids got up and was out the door. And a lot of times I was home when they were already in bed, so I was running that
That's
life
hard.
feeling like I was putting in the work to make my family in a better place.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
in reality, I wasn't.
Yeah. Yep. One thing that we have, and I laugh about it because you go to the store and like, I just realized this. All right, so you guys can laugh and pick on me all you want to.
It'll happen.
Every time I went to Food Line, the powdered sugar donuts, the Hostess donuts, they were 2 for $5, and I was like, bro, that's one heck of a deal.
How do you say no?
Right.
That's almost giving them away.
Well, that's what I thought.
Yeah, you've lost money if you don't buy those.
Well, then I went to Kroger. Same deal. And there was somewhere else I went. Same deal. They lying to us. Them things ain't on sale. I was so mad. I thought I was getting this deal.
I definitely hope my
$5.
wife's not watching now because
Well, I still bought them. I
get
mean,
It's still a good deal. It's just a good deal everywhere.
Didn't stop me from buying some last night when I was at the store.
sometimes you just don't need to do research on stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
But so what I was saying about that is like we think that 2 is better than 1. We think that if we can get 2 of whatever, we got a better deal. We think we need two handfuls. I got my powdered sugar donuts here, and I got my glazed ones here. Whatever it may be, or your cereal. I'm the worst about cereal. Walk down there and 2 for $6. 2 for $6. Oh, gotta get it. Even though it's not a great deal. Connor even called me out on it. Like he wanted this box of cereal that was like 90 cents off. And I was like, man, that's not a good deal. And I was like, grab the Frosted Flakes and this other one. They're 2 for $6. And he looked at it. He was like, but that's only 68 cents off. And I'm like, shut up and get in the truck. Yeah. But that's what we think. We think if we can get more, like, so I think it was Lucky Charms. It was just 1 box on sale. But the 2 for $6 is what got me, even though the 1 box was technically cheaper. We think when we have 2 or more, we got more. And Ecclesiastes 4:7 says, better 1 handful with tranquility than 2 handfuls with toil and chasing after the wind.
I'm going to take a stab in the dark. Did you have breakfast this morning? I think you might be hungry.
I did. I had Frosted Flakes. But I am hungry. And I
The 2 for $6 Frosted Flakes.
if you've ever been to our house, we got this great cabinet, and on the top of that great cabinet is like 20 boxes of cereal. I got a problem.
That's the way it is at my house.
Good, thank you.
Yeah.
Man, we'll start a support
My
group.
kids will, hey, kids, what do you want for dinner?
Cereal.
No
I'm down.
worries.
I'm
when
down with
mom's
it.
not there, like cereal, that's all I got to make. I'm good with it.
It's like we're brothers or something. So, I just want to encourage you. Don't feel like you always have to have more. Don't feel like you always have to do more. Do less, and I promise you'll get more accomplished.
Yeah.
I know it sounds like an oxymoron, but do less and you will get more accomplished. But now when you do that less, do it effectively. Again, Ecclesiastes 4:6, better 1 handful of tranquility than 2 handfuls with toil and chasing after the wind. The wisdom of life consists in eliminating the non-essentials. And we said this several weeks ago, and I think we encouraged everyone to do it, and I failed at it. Don't just make to-do lists. make not to do lists. So instead of just putting everything you got to do, put things you're not going to do. I just had a conversation with Austin the other day. We're going through this full focus planner, which is a lot. You write down all your goals and everything you do on a daily basis, and you plan it out. And one of the things that I encouraged him to do is to create 3 categories. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, this is going to be a multi-episode deal on just this one topic, because we got like 5 things, but there's so much meat to it. But I told Austin, I said, create three categories. Need to do, want to do, don't do. Mm-hmm. Your need to do is things that only you can do, things that you have to do, things that you should not give to somebody else. Then you have your want to. These are things that you can do, that you desire to do, something you've always wanted to do, but it's not something you have to do or need to do. It's something that somebody else could do with you, somebody else could do, or you could do. And then you do your don't do's. And that's things that somebody else could do. Just throwing this out there. Yesterday, Darren was on the lift. I'm scared to death of heights. I could get up there and replace the lights. But I intentionally decided
to let Darren risk his life.
I prayed for him.
Was you down there to catch him?
No, I was actually up here almost eye level watching him.
But he was ready to call 911 when he heard the scream, so we're good. And I didn't fall. It was good.
Yeah.
Everything was solid.
All of them got replaced, broke. And then we had another one go bad. That's how it goes.
The hits just keep on coming.
Yeah. So
you can't see it right now, but Darren's got no legs.
we wheeled him in here. But that's what I'm saying. Like it's far beyond delegation, and thank God that Darren enjoys doing those kind of things. There's a lot that Darren does that you guys don't see, but there's things that we don't do. We could, and just because we could doesn't mean we should. So you put that in the don't do list. Like if you got a volunteer, or if you let your child do the dishes. And while they're doing the dishes, you cut the grass because your child maybe isn't old enough or smart enough to cut the grass yet. Whatever. I mean, yeah. So again, the wisdom of life is more about eliminating the non-essentials. So don't just make to-do lists. Make not to-do lists.
I think we're to read that.
I don't even know what time the show's supposed to stop today. Do y'all know? We started at 12:10. It's 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we won't go all long. So go ahead. Sorry, you about to say something.
Oh, that's good. When we were reading that verse in Ecclesiastes, the word that came to mind was simplicity.
Yeah.
And I'm a dude that loves my technology. Like I always want, I'm really jealous of your iPhone right now because I love Apple. I love all this new stuff, but so many times, I've gotten new technology or new things in the hopes that I can do this with this and I could try this, but then it quits working.
Yep.
And then it doesn't simplify my life or enhance my life. It actually just makes it more difficult and more stressful, and spend a whole bunch of money on it.
Yeah.
And now my life isn't as simple as it should be, So there's so many things that we feel like, or at least in my life, I feel like I need these things that as soon as I get them, it's like, oh, that was nice.
Yeah.
I didn't really need that. I just wanted a nice new shiny toy.
Yep. Yep. 100%. So the first takeaway is find the pace of grace. Don't try to outpace your life. And then if you continue to look in 1 Kings and you're looking at the story of Elijah, you see in verses 9 through 12, he went into a cave and he spent the night. And the word of the Lord came to him, what are you doing here? How many times has God maybe come to you and said, what are you doing? Sometimes I wish he would say it a little bit louder so I could really hear him. What are you doing?
I think he says it loud. We just have so much
too much noise around you.
Yeah, and so then this is the part that I want you to kind of grasp here, because, honestly, throughout this whole story, Elijah actually tells a lie about who he is and what he's done. He says, I've been very zealous of the Lord God Almighty. The Israelites have rejected your covenant, torn down your altars, and put your prophets to death with the sword. I am the only one left, and now they are trying to kill me too. The Lord said, go out and stand on the mountain in the presence of the Lord. In other words, shut up, dude. You trying to lie to me?
Yeah.
Get out the cave and go up on the mountain and look and be in the presence of the Lord. For the Lord is about to pass by, and then a great powerful wind tore the mountains apart, shattered the rocks before the Lord, but the Lord was not in the wind. After the wind there was an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. After the earthquake came a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire came a gentle whisper.
Yeah, I think we talked about that when Carly was off on his keynote speaking, Darren, didn't we? I mean, to me, that is so powerful because a lot of times we look for these huge, big gestures waiting on the Lord. And if we just stop, and I mean, you can even, take it back to right before that where he's talking about rest.
Yeah.
When you're resting,
yep,
you can hear that whisper of the Lord. Sometimes he might come.
Yeah.
The Lord can come in big.
Oh, 100%.
Big pictures like that in the wind and the earthquakes and things. But a lot of times you might just have to stop and rest and be quiet and just listen for that.
I think back, and I can't ever remember the exact verse, but be still and know that I am God.
You should know that verse.
I know. I say it all the time.
It's on the wall in the office.
I know that. And I say it all the time, but it starts with be still. And know that I'm God, and know that I got you. And so what you have to do, this second takeaway today is you got to cultivate the presence of God in your life.
I love that.
You can't just look for the mountaintop experience. You can't look for just the earthquake, the storm, the slap in the face from God. We were just saying, like, sometimes I wish he would say it louder. And sometimes he's like, I wish you would just chill out long enough and hear me saying it. And so sometimes we have to create. I mean, clearly God's presence, God's spirit is everywhere. But sometimes we got to cultivate an environment where we can sense the presence and we can hear God. And this goes beyond Sunday. This goes beyond midweek, and that's part of the reason why we're wanting to do this group me, so that we can do this. You have to create habits that cultivate God's presence in your life. I think it was Chris Hodges that said this is the greatest prescription for anxiety out there. And that is true. I'm not saying medication and things like that don't help. But I promise you, if you're not cultivating an environment, cultivating the presence of God in your life, then you haven't truly seen what God can do with your anxiety. Create those moments. And Chris, he mentioned Psalm 73, 16 through 17 in his message this past 2 weeks ago. When I tried to understand all this, it troubled me deeply until I entered the sanctuary of God. If you're troubled, try entering the presence of God. Try entering, and I'm not talking about the worship center here. If you're watching from another church, I'm not talking about your sanctuary or wherever you do church. We're talking about the presence of God that goes far beyond a building.
That could happen anywhere.
Absolutely.
In your truck, riding home, that 10 minutes.
As long as the check engine light's not on.
There's even a song, Church in a Chevy, right?
Oh, I love that song too, man. It's I'm not big on country, but I'll rock out to that one. So here's a recommendation that I want to give you. And maybe you're like, dude, I'm not a morning person. Try it. Wake up just 15 minutes earlier and do these things. These are the first 15. 5 minutes in the Word, 5 minutes in worship with your favorite worship song or whatever it is, 5 minutes in prayer. Try it. Give him your first 15. Try it, and you will begin to see your anxiety come down because you're cultivating the presence of God in your life. If the first thing you do is get up and look at Facebook, you're going to see something that's going to trigger some sort of attitude, and then you're going to ruminate on that.
Your day's gone.
Yeah, you're
week, maybe even your week.
Yep, you're going to begin to ruminate on that thing, and that's what Elijah did. We're gonna hit one more. All right, that cool, you guys? So verses 13 and 14, when Elijah heard it, he pulled his cloak over his face. What he was trying to do in that moment is he was putting that mask on. He was hiding who he really was. And he went out and he stood on the mount of the cave. And then a voice said to him, "What are you doing here?" And he replied, I've been very zealous for the Lord God Almighty. The Israelites have rejected your covenant, torn down your altars. Once again, he's telling this lie. In this moment, Elijah has talked himself into a lie about himself. That's not true. How often do we do this? Our anxiety, our cave, it comes from us talking ourselves into believing a lie about ourselves that's not true.
It sounds like a lot of excuses too.
Oh, yeah.
In there. And I mean, I know we get that way sometimes too when it comes to going to church on Sunday or life group on Fridays or whenever your life group is and things like that. Well, that's such a hard day.
Yep.
You know, that's a lot of mess. You just got to get.
Or you look at the weather and it's calling for rain.
Yeah.
And
you don't go to the gym.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yep. Oh, man, my shoulder hurts a little bit. No, you just slept wrong. Get up, stretch a little bit, go to the gym. Yeah, what we do create these excuses, and the thing is, a lot of times an excuse simply starts out as an innocent excuse, but then you begin to believe that. You know, if somebody tells you something 100 different times, or a couple people tell you something 100 different times, eventually you're going to believe it. If that's all you allow yourself to see or hear. So we gotta stop believing the stuff that we tell ourselves. If you guys are hearing a lot of noise, I think we're getting really close to finishing the cafe 100%. Pretty excited about that. But don't hold your breath. You gotta stop believing the things that you're telling yourselves, and definitely stop believing the lies that other people are saying. Stop believing what people say about you. Stop believing what you see on social media. Get out of the comparison trap of what you see on social media and what you see on TV and what you see in public, because I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes to what you see on TV, on social media, in public. You're catching people on their best. You're catching people's highlight reels. Don't let that make you believe a lie about who you are. Some of us, Chris Hodges, I got to give him credit on this one. He said some of us need to practice selective ignorance. Select what you're ignorant about.
That's what it was that I was talking about before the show that I saw, and I like.
Yeah.
That's good.
I think my kids practice selective ignorance constantly.
I think I practice selective ignorance sometimes. I'm not going to say in what scenarios, but, you know, one of the things that I think it was Kelly Fitzgerald, who's our production director on Sundays. I asked her one day, I was like, do you know how to do, it might have been the lights. I'm just going to say that. I was like, do you know how to do the lights? She was like, no. And I don't want to, because then I will feel like I need to. You see what I did there with those columns earlier? You know, if she does not know how to do the lights, then I would never expect her to do the lights, and therefore she would never do lights.
Exactly.
Don't get any ideas, Darren.
Hey, she's proven she knows a little bit. She knows enough. So
she
Kelly,
does.
If you watch this, I know you know enough.
Yeah, Kelly does an amazing job. She's really part of the reason that our production on Sundays is so good. So let's finish with this thought right here, and then we'll hit the other. Man, we got through 2. Look at us go. I said it earlier. You know, when you wake up in the morning, the first thing you do is you look at Facebook and somebody has commented negatively on a picture or whatever. What you do the whole rest of the day is you just ruminate on that thing. Do you guys know what ruminating is? It's quite disgusting.
It's a great line in a NF song.
Yes, it is.
I'm going to let you tell him what that is. I don't want to steal your thunder.
He's really excited about it. We couldn't do that.
It's quite disgusting, okay? You ever been around a farm or been around a cow, and you can watch that cow all day long, and the cow will only go to the ground and get grass one time. What that cow does, chews it, swallows it, regurgitates it, chews it some more, swallows it, basically throws up in his mouth, chews it some more, and can do this about all day long. In essence, that's what we do When we begin to believe the lies that somebody else is telling us, we do that. We chew it, and then once we think we've swallowed it, got it down, it comes back up, and we chew on it some more, and we swallow it, and then we chew on it some more. You have to get beyond that. You can't just ruminate. And what rumination is the focused attention on the symptoms of one's distress as opposed to its solutions. Instead of just chewing on it, bro, swallow that junk and go get another bite.
Yeah.
Or spit it out. If it didn't taste good, spit it out.
I'm kind of glad I didn't know what that was. Now
I'm just more glad I grew up in the city and there were no cows where I grew up.
All right, so here's what I want to end with right here, and I love this, and just hold on for it. All right, this is the anti-Psalm 23, and if you know anything about Psalm 23, it's probably the most famous psalm, one of my favorites. I could probably almost quote the whole thing. Here's what I read. This is the anti-Psalm 23. And so often, this is the Psalm 23 that we read of our lives, not the real one. And here's what the anti-Psalm 23 says. I'm on my own. No one looks out for me or protects me. I experience a continual sense of need. Nothing's quite right. I'm always restless. I'm easily frustrated and often disappointed. It's a jungle. I feel overwhelmed. It's a desert. I'm thirsty. My soul feels broken, twisted, and stuck. I can't fix myself. I stumble down some dark paths. Still, I insist. I want to do what I want, when I want, how I want. But life's confusing. Why don't things ever really work out? I'm haunted by emptiness and futility, shadows of death. I fear the big hurt and final loss. I spend my life protecting myself. Bad things can happen. I find no lasting comfort. I'm alone facing everything that could hurt me. Are my friends really friends? I can't really trust anyone. No one has my back. No one is really for me except me. My cup is never quite full enough. I'm left empty. Surely disappointment follows me all the days of my life, and I will be forever free falling into a void. Man. How often have we read that Psalm 23 over our lives rather than the real Psalm 23?
It's like the Eeyore Psalm. Everything is against me. Everything's terrible.
Yeah.
Man.
That's where a lot of our minds are. And again, the first two takeaways that I want you to have today is, number one, you got to function at the pace of grace. Give yourself some grace. Prioritize things better. And then the other thing is you got to cultivate the presence of God in your life. I want to leave you with this quote by Brian Tracy, and then we're going to end in prayer. 95% of your emotions are determined by the way you talk to yourself. How are you talking to yourself? Are you, what was it we said? A mighty warrior.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you looking in the mirror every day and calling yourself a mighty warrior? Are you looking in the mirror every day and saying, Carly, you are a chosen generation. You are a royal priesthood. Like, are you telling yourself every day that God chose you? That God created, that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, that you are his masterpiece? Are you telling yourself that every day? Or are you doing what the anti-Psalm 23 is doing and speaking negatively to yourself? If you do that over and over again and you continue to ruminate that, that's who you're going to think you are. You're going to believe that lie. Man, we got three more that I wanted to share with you guys, but you got to come back next week. Come back next week, and we will give you the next 3 ways that you can hopefully overcome anxiety and stay out of the cave. But understand that even if you find yourself in the cave, that doesn't make you a bad person. It's just your check engine light coming on again. And when your check engine light comes on, sometimes you can fix it yourself, but other times you gotta take it to somebody else. So get you a life group. Get you some people around you. Don't do life alone. We're not meant to do life alone. Any final thoughts?
I just always think everything we've talked about over the past several weeks, especially through Out of the Cave, like so many of these things are within our control.
Yeah.
Like there's so many things in life that are outside your control. But there's so many things that we have control over. Our food supply, right? What you eat, when you sleep, you know, how much complication you bring into your life, and how, your schedule. I mean, for the most part, you're in control of your schedule in a lot of cases. You know, some things you're not, but there's so many things that bring us stress that we're in control of.
Yeah.
Just control the controllables and then let God handle the rest.
Put that on a T-shirt. Control the controllables.
I was going to say everything you said. That'd be a big T-shirt.
$9.95.
Yeah.
Shipping tomorrow.
Printing them in room 207. We got anything on the chat? Anybody got any highlights?
I don't have anything on the...
John Brunk says that's deep.
Yeah, all of it was.
I'm not sure what he's referring to. I'm going to assume it's our cereal talk.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume that's that.
Yeah, not the cave.
Katie Mio loves some cereal.
Oh, man. Thank you, Katie. Talk to my wife. She gives me a hard time about cereal.
Hey, your wife's in there.
Oh, boy. Sorry, Hannah.
Katie says that cereal's going to fall on your head if you're not careful.
It actually has a few times.
Apparently it has a few times.
Yeah.
Did you see what we're bringing for Life Group on Friday for our breakfast for dinner?
Cereal?
Yeah.
Yes.
How many kinds of cereal?
It depends on who's in charge, whether it's me or my wife, and getting the cereal. If it's me, it's going to be like 37 different kinds of cereal. Yes. If it's her, it's probably like 3.
There's a bunch of them 2 for $6 at Food Line right now.
Don't forget the donuts too.
They're 2 for $5. So. Did I not listen to anything we talked about today? Oh man, Brandon, will you close us out in prayer?
I sure will. Lord Father, we thank you so much for this show, Lord. We thank you so much for the people who listen to this show, Lord, and that we can motivate them, Lord, because we know that they're motivating us. Jesus, we just declare that anxiety and depression do not have to be a part of our lives, Lord. Mm-hmm. We thank you for giving us your word so that in all things we can lean on your truth. Help us identify the areas in our lives that contribute to anxiety and depression so we can replace them with the good you have in store for us. Surround us, Lord, with godly people to share us in our struggles, joys, losses, and triumphs. Open our eyes to the purpose you have for our lives as we seek you daily. We trust you, Father, as we turn to you for freedom from anxiety and depression. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Hey, be sure to share this with your friends and your family. We all either have dealt with or know someone who's dealt with anxiety and depression. And while we're not experts, we don't even claim to be, we're just sharing what God has placed on our hearts to share with you guys. And so we just want to encourage you guys to do that. Don't forget 540-900-3838. You don't have to text Motivate. But if you text Motivate, that puts you in our group. You can just simply text a prayer request, an image. If you've already texted Motivate, you don't have to do it again. You're already in the group. We're hoping to plan some pretty cool things. One thing I want to throw out there, and I don't even know if I've talked to Brandon about this. I think Darren knows. This year at our Candyland, Midweek Motivation is going to be out there doing a live show. We're going to do a lip syncing contest. We're going to do a costume contest. So we're going to have some pretty cool giveaways. We'll have a tent out there. We'll have some live music. We're going to have a good time. We're going to do it. It's going to be online, but it's also going to be out loud in person as well. So it's going to be pretty cool. We may have to do some shifts because it is Halloween, but we'll work all those details out. Sorry, Brandon. I'm just now telling Brandon.
Oh, you've told me.
Oh, good. Whew, man.
I'm just looking forward to
sort of. I didn't know all the lip syncing and.
Well, you're the first contestant.
With the costume contest,
Church in a Chevy.
We're gonna have to come dressed up.
Yep.
So my mind's.
Yeah. Well, I already know who I'm dressing up as, and I just want to see how many people get it right.
Well, we might need to rethink that. It might need to be like a group thing.
I got you. I was
thinking I would just throw on some white glasses and be Carly. See if anybody catches on.
You got to go with the
have
straight
the
razor
haircut?
on the
If I can
top,
go
though.
all the way.
I mean, we're pretty close
It's
now.
getting close.
Yeah,
It's getting there.
yeah. All right. Well, listen, I'm pretty sure our time is up or almost up. Listen, we love you guys. We thank you guys so much that we get to do life with you, and make that extend beyond just Wednesday. Make it extend beyond Sunday. Plug in and serve, whether you're here at Parkway or you're at another church. Plug in and serve. Get plugged in a life group. Get an accountability partner. Maybe seek out a mentor or a counselor. All of those things are great things, because we don't want to end up in a cave, just like Elijah did. He left his servant and he went further by himself in isolation. And that was really where we started seeing this story take a turn. Mm-hmm. Don't do life alone. God bless you guys. This has been another amazing week of Midweek Motivation.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, when you're feeling down and motivated in the midweek, we got the guys here to make your life complete. Little John, Brandon, Cody, Carly, they're coming in to keep you motivated all week. New episode, same time every week. Don't gotta wait long for the next one to release. So don't go away, sit down, take a seat, enjoy Midweek Motivation with John and Carly. Hey,
Midweek Motivation.
let's go.